PTR notes version 2.0.3. This is week 2. Today's June 30th. And some new changes, which they've already applied live to both the regular servers and the PTR servers. Custom game lobby advertisements now properly time out 15 minutes after the most recent player has joined or left. Timer resets.
Lantern strategy just followed.
Soon as I begin, there we go. Thanks for the follow. This timer resets every time a player joins or leaves the lobby. Fix an issue where some players with classic keys were having licensing problems. This was a big issue. People were complaining about this on Reddit and in a bunch of discords. If they had classic keys, they weren't being used or weren't be allowed to use. There was an issue, so apparently they fixed that. Fix an issue where custom game invites were not working properly. This I know for sure. I had that problem, so good thing that I fixed that. So visuals, they fix some visuals for the main menu, the campaign, something to do with like the files and the renders. I don't know anything about this stuff. Fix certain FX appearing as white squares in classic HD mode. This I've noticed. Tree idle animation now enabled in a reforged environment, so that was an issue. Fixed a few model files which were not correctly being included with the game. Audio issues with the music overlap with music from a save game, and then the world editor, some stuff like that. Some hotkeys, maybe we'll go over these ones. Mouse buttons are now bindable while changing hotkeys in game. Remove hotkeys for passive abilities. I don't even know why you would need hotkeys for passive abilities. Hotkeys for learning passive abilities still exist. Okay, sure. The team is aware of an issue with resistant skin and hardened skin hotkeys still appearing. Unlinked peasant and militia hotkeys, conflict detection, fix an issue errors. Players are unable to drag scroll. That I've noticed. As a result of this fix, scroll click is now not bindable, so you can't bind your scroll. Fix the implementation of the toggle health bar hotkeys. Okay, cool. Updated help menu to show control group hotkeys. Changed the ordering of mercenaries so that it's possible to assign QWER to every camp without conflict. That should have already been done, but thank you. Remove Pocket Factory from the list of neutral buildings. In fact, it should not be a neutral building. Remove select unit ability from the tavern. Fix an issue where hero select and inventory items are not detecting conflicts. Added Nether Dragon Roost to neutral buildings, which it should be. So, those are just generic stuff. I just read them. Not really big issues. But multiplayer, the MMR gains and losses are now doubled on Battle.net. So when you lose double the points. When you win, you gain double. And there are extra notes in the master change list explaining these MMR changes. So maybe somebody could pull that up for me and we can figure out what that really means. Because double doesn't mean anything. Because if I play somebody who's 2,000 MMR from W3C on Battle.net, and they're higher MMR, and I beat them, I should get a boatload of MMR, and they should get 1 point. And if they lose to me, they should lose a lot. Let's get to the quick applied stuff. General, piercing damage against heavy armor decreased from 100% to 90%. So this is a balance. This is extra balance stuff that they're applying to the already patch that we've talked about for 2.03. Piercing damage against heavy armor is decreased from 100% to 90%. Is that going to make a big difference? We'll find out. Fix the crash. I guess it makes sense, right? Hunt. This is even more of a buff to hunts. It's crazy. It's going to be crazy. Fix the crash that occurred when selecting a structure that had its construction or production paused. Didn't even know that was the issue, but there you go. Here we go. Here's a debuff. Night Elf Huntress glaives will no longer bounce to and from structures. So the Huntress glaives no longer bounce between your buildings. So you're not going to be afraid that your building is just going to massively die to heavy armor hunts. So it's not a big deal, but it's a small nerf, right? So no base. And I remembered Sonic. Sonic was playing a game on. I was on Twitch, and I think he lamed an orc who had towers, and he had like 15 hunts with like priestess and scroll protection, and they just destroyed the orc base in like 2 seconds. So there you go. So hunts are better, and everything basically stayed the same. Why would you decrease the piercing damage against heavy armor? I posted a list of overall effects of the 90% damage change. Oh, where'd you post it? So undead animate dead units will now inherit upgrades that they had when they were killed. So this I thought this was a good change to make. Like, it's really one of those ultimate abilities that's not really used. So they keep. I know when they got the disease cloud edition, that's pretty cool. And then they were immune, but now you can be killed the units, and then I believe the Death Knight can also use Death Pact on them, and so now they're like, let's say for example, a bear is raised from the dead with the Death Knight ultimate, you can use Rejuve. So that's pretty cool. The team is aware of an issue where passive abilities are not being transferred upon reanimation and will be fixed before release. So there's some kind of passive abilities that are not being transferred. So they're going to fix that. Neutral Panda Breath of Fire damage over time has been increased from 7:14:21 to 10:15:25. The Brewmaster movement speed has been increased from 290 to 320. And then fix an issue where neutral variant Brilliance Aura was not displaying with decimal values in the tooltip bar. So where I don't care about that, but I do care about this. So made all those changes that we talked about last time about the Panda. And now Brewmaster's fire damage over time, right, is now increased. But they're still not addressing the fact that their cone is not really a cone and it's like this big and it doesn't make any sense. And they didn't address the animation issue because they're not going to do that. So they're nerfing the range, and now they're buffing the damage over time. I don't know. I don't like where they're going with this Panda change, to be honest, at all. It seems to be a bit. It seems to be a bit weird. I don't know why. Maybe because they've added it to Game Pass, that they want to do changes and try to fix things. I mean, should anybody be complaining that they're patching a 20-year-old plus game? It just needs to make sense on paper. I don't know. Yeah, the Panda movement speed's a bit questionable too. Because once he gets boots, he's going to be... I guess the idea is he's going to get boots, he's going to have speed, he's going to run in and out. Breath of Fire, boom, 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 so he doesn't die so fast. Maybe that's the mentality behind it. Narbu? Well, I don't know, because we need to see in the meta how Panda's going to do... Let's say, for example, you're Night Elf and you're playing against Undead who's going Gargs. Is your Panda going to be able to reach all those Gargs when they're like swarming you? Because you have to get into gargoyle form, you have to dodge it, you have to, I don't think so. So it's really strange. All changes, game servers, custom game, lobby advertisements now, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so basically these are the new changes. Everything else was covered last time. That's the only thing new that they've added. So if you want to look at it in terms of like balance stuff, this is just the MMR stuff. So this is a big deal, I think. Piercing damage against heavy armor decreased from 100 to 90%. And then our friend posted something here. Let me get... So the effects of 90% damage against heavy armor. Static defense is now weaker against melee units. Watchtower, Nerubian burrows. Unfortified burrows are now stronger against range units. Fortified burrows are still better. Range creeps now do less damage against melee units. Range units now creep slower on average. Overall ranged unit nerf, including fiends, headhunter, berserker, riflemen, archers, dryads, etc. Overall melee unit buff to ghouls, footmen, grunts, heavy huntresses, bombs, bears, torrents, knights, etc. Nerf against ranged summons such as water elementals and quill beast. Buff for melee summons such as wolves, beetles, and also water elementals. Overall buff for pit lord, necro wagon as wyverns or wind riders will now kill meat wagons slower, and pit lord will slaughter most ground units anyways. I think you had to throw in the pit lord for fun, but I don't know how the game pass is going to work, but I don't think they can play on console. Where do we go from here? I think they're offhand about the MMR gains and losses being doubled on BattleNet. Doesn't make a difference. It seems rather weird. And piercing damage against heavy armor decreased from 100 to 90%. I think that's a big deal. And I think the nerf to Huntress Glaives is good. I think the animate dead inherit the upgrades is good. I think the whole panda changes are very strange. Let me know your thoughts, because after we do this, guys, and I want you to drop your comments on the YouTube video and see what you think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the channel.